Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to associate myself with the message just a little bit ago delivered by my senior senator from North Dakota, Senator Hoeven, and echo his words about the importance of farmers and ranchers, all of our agricultural producers, those who produce the food and the fiber and the fuel for our country. They need assistance, and I'm really grateful that Senator Hoeven has played such a lead role in getting them assistance in this HEALS Act. It's critical. Mr. President, I want to join the rest of my colleagues today in discussing the HEALS Act and demonstrating our support for the merit of this important bill. The ultimate answer to the problems that we face as a result of this virus, of course, lies in the healthcare industry and in our healthcare in fighting against this enemy of the virus. And that's why we're calling for more funding for testing and treatments and ultimately a vaccine, hopefully soon. And as we do so, we also have to make sure, Mr. President, that our economy is healthy, that our economy survives, and that our education system remains available and accessible to our students in the classroom. Jobs, kids, and health care, students, parents, and patients. This is who Senate Republicans are fighting for. And I've introduced bipartisan legislation to further this goal. I believe we should include in the HEALS Act in its entirety. And many pieces of it are in, but I think we can do more. The Paycheck Protection Small Business Forgiveness Act would offer streamlined forgiveness for any borrower of a Paycheck Protection Program loan of $150,000 or less who fills out a simple one-page form attesting that they spent the loan dollars the way they're supposed to. With the expected forgiveness guidance from the bureaucracy, businesses and lenders will have to spend billions of dollars to receive the forgiveness that was promised them. In fact, we estimate that each borrower would have to spend $2,000 and each lender $500 per loan just to comply with what the bureaucracy comes up with. That doesn't even include the dollars we have to spend on the bureaucracy itself. We created the PPP to help small businesses and their employees survive, not to create a bureaucracy that will bury them in paperwork. So who are these borrowers of PPP loans of $150,000 or less? Well, loans of this size make up, listen to this now, 85% or $4.2 million of the loans, but only 4.2 million of the loans, but only 25% or $132 million of the loaned amount. Imagine that. 85% of the loans are in this category. 4.2 million of roughly 5 million loans. So that means 15% of the authorized PPP loans make up 75% of the borrowed money. In North Dakota, the average loan was only $91,000. But under current law, the bureaucracy would, regardless of loan size, seek to indiscriminately verify and approve forgiveness applications. And they haven't even come up with the form to do it with yet. This would require a significant growth in the government and in the bureaucracy that we cannot afford, only to make small businesses and lenders spend time and money they can't afford to spend to comply with this bureaucracy. It makes no sense. Unless we forget, Mr. President, when the Senate unanimously passed the CARES Act, we made our intent clear. PPP loans would become grants for the businesses who spent the money properly, and the banks were there to help guide them. There was no caveat that the loan would come with unnecessary bureaucracy. In fact, quite the opposite was true. The implication was that it would not come with additional bureaucracy. The bipartisan bill that I introduced with Senators Menendez, Tillis, and Sinema, and now has 25 Senate sponsors, would fulfill our original intent and the promise we made to lenders and applicants by creating a simple, accountable process for loan forgiveness. Our bill also includes a provision which makes sure that lenders will not be held responsible for improper actions of the borrowers while still ensuring proper enforcement action can be taken if necessary. In fact, the accountability structure is intact. When we passed the CARES Act, we liberally encouraged businesses to apply for PPP and urged the bureaucracy and the lenders to get the money out the door fast. We were in a crisis, Mr. President. We were trying to keep people from being laid off and let go. and largely we were successful. But that success could be undone if we do not take the next steps properly. We shouldn't backtrack on the guidance we gave lenders by holding them accountable for the decisions the borrowers made. Now, fraud's a concern for sure, which is why my proposal keeps all audit authorities intact. If a borrower falsely attests to using the funds correctly, the federal government is able to investigate and hold them accountable. And if this sounds like a common sense approach, Mr. President, that's because it is. This bipartisan measure was popular from the start, and it is gaining support still, with a quarter of the Senate, a sizable number in the House, and now close to 200 business associations and groups supporting it from the entire political spectrum. And why wouldn't it be popular? It aligns with the very same principles we are fighting for right here today: jobs, kids, and health care. No small business owner figuring out how to safely send their kid to school should have to worry about unnecessary red tape. No employee of a shop on Main Street should have to live in fear of being laid off because their employer might not perfectly comply with the arbitrary requirements put forth for them by a bureaucrat in Washington. No brother, sister, son or daughter should have to sit down and crunch the numbers to make sure they have enough money to apply for loan forgiveness while supporting their family at home. Mr. President, the fear they face is real. And small business is not just an arbitrary designation. They're the backbone of America. They are the employers of the vast majority of people in our country, and their anxiety is our anxiety. Earlier this month, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin told the House committee, "This is an idea we should consider," and I agree. We should consider it in bipartisan negotiations and add it to the HEALS Act in its entirety. It will give our small businesses the peace of mind that they need, like the rest of us, while they fight for their livelihoods during this pandemic. I yield the floor.